The Gospel of Matthew. The Gospel itself is anonymous. Traditionally, Matthew, also called Levi, one of the 12, wrote it. But because the writer uses Mark as his primary source, a lot of scholars believe it's unlikely that he was an apostolic witness to the events that he describes. It was likely written in the late 1st century, probably in the 80s, at least a decade after the destruction of Jerusalem. This was a time of high tensions between post-war Jewish leaders and early Christians. It was probably written in Antioch in Syria, the site of a large Jewish and Jewish Christian community. The major sources that Matthew used were Mark, Q, and what we call Special Mattean material, or M. His audience was Greek-speaking Jewish Christians and Gentiles who were, at least partly, Torah observant. Some of the themes of the Gospel include an emphasis on the miraculous and supernatural, Jesus as the inaugurator of a new covenant, Jesus as fulfillment of specific prophecies of the Hebrew Bible, and Jesus as Messiah. Matthew's Gospel is also the Gospel that is most explicitly concerned with the nature and function of the Church. Chapter 1 is an introduction to the Messiah that begins with a very Jewish genealogy, which is laid out in sevens. It's divided into 3 sections of 14. The numbers of words it contains is divisible by 7. The number of male names is divisible by 7. 5 women are also mentioned in the genealogy. Note that it was unusual to mention women at all in a genealogy. All of these women paint a picture of how God can use even the most horrible of situations to bring about something beautiful. In this case, the Messiah, God in the flesh, and the salvation of the entire world. The first woman mentioned is Tamar, who had children with her father-in-law. The second is Rahab, who was a Canaanite prostitute. The third is Ruth, who was a Moabitess and a descendant of incest between Lot and his daughter. The fourth is Bathsheba, the wife David stole from Uriah. The fifth is Mary, who was also accused of adultery. We then come to the infancy narratives detailing the birth of Jesus Christ. We learn that Joseph is pledged to be married to Mary, but he finds out she's pregnant. He plans to divorce her quietly so as not to cause embarrassment, but an angel appears to him in a dream and tells him to go ahead with the marriage because the Holy Spirit is the one who impregnated her. The angel says, "She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." The name Jesus is just the Greek version of the Hebrew name Joshua or Yeshua, which means the Lord saves. Matthew then says, all this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet, "The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel," which means God with us. Here, Matthew is quoting from Isaiah 7:10-25, where Isaiah is predicting the timing of the destruction of 2 foreign kings, Rezin and Pekah. Some would say that he is drawing out a deeper meaning from Isaiah that was not originally understood from that text. We then hear about how Jesus was born in Bethlehem.